time of crisis is certainly not over, but Rebound Detroit is here to help you. Today, we want to give you a look at what comes next in Lansing, especially with our roads, the former #1 topic in the state before COVID-19. 7 Action News reporter Brian Abel has more on the uphill battle the legislature will soon face. Brian.
Well, Carolyn, in just a few days, lawmakers will know how much money will be in Michigan's bank account for them to spend on education, health care, law enforcement, and of course, our roads. And what they decide could make a big impact on how quickly our state recovers. As Michigan begins its rebound from COVID-19, it means a few things for drivers like Carlisle.
And that everything will be impacted by the virus itself and our recovery from it.
1, more people back on the roads, which leads to 2, a fresh reminder to Michiganders that those roads are among the worst in the nation, with a campaign promise
it is time to fix the damn roads
still unfulfilled. In Governor Gretchen Whitmer's own words, here's why fixing them matters.
Michigan families pay more than $600 a year in car repairs. Cracked windshields, blown tires, busted rims. That's money that could go into your child care budget, or your retirement fund, or rent.
All of those payments, all the more cumbersome, hard to come by in the wake of COVID-19, especially those who've found themselves now unemployed.
And it's also bad for business. We can't ask business to invest in Michigan if we refuse to invest in ourselves.
A major roadblock to rebuilding the state's stressed economy when it could be a potential vessel for some in the workforce to get back on their feet.
We could have been putting people back to work had we taken the opportunity last year to invest in roads.
According to an April report by the Transportation Asset Management Council, investment is still very much needed.
I don't know, we just got to get through it. Make the roads better, hope they repair.
The state's revenue to pay for it? Powered by the state's people, working, traveling, and spending. All things stalled as the coronavirus started coursing through Michigan, paving the way to record unemployment.
Just in March, the money brought in by gas tax was $20 million less than the year before. And April is expected to be even worse because in April we were in the lockdown.
And now the stopwatch is ticking with an anticipated $3+ billion shortfall for the upcoming budget. After last year's prolonged budget battle, the legislature imposed a self-deadline for this time around, July 1st. And in just days, they'll have a better idea of just how much COVID-19 has impacted Michigan after the Consensus Revenue Estimating Conference, a summit that projects how much money the state will have to work with.
Then it's going to get down to what is essential. Obviously, having roads that are unsafe is an essential item.
Getting people back to work is the most important thing, but in a way where it's practical. You know, we're not putting people at risk. If the roads aren't put together, if the roads aren't, safe, then people can't get to work.
What happens here between now and July 1st? How our government chooses to spend our money on roads and other priorities trickles down to all of us with new realities of what's in our own pockets.
This is something that should have took place before COVID. This should have already been in the works. So spending the money now, it's not in the budget for a lot of people.
So here's the rebound rundown. The issues the state was facing before COVID, they haven't gone away. The budget for nearly every facet of the state is expected to be slashed, and the deadline for a road funding plan is July 1st. And you may remember that workaround the governor announced for roads last year, that $3.5 billion in bonds. Well, those projects, they will continue and be back paid when the bonds are sold, but the time frame for that, it's unclear because it relies on a financial market that is far more volatile now than when the plan was originally announced. Carolyn?
You got that right. Everybody's watching it closely, too. Brian, any indication on how budget talks will go once those budget numbers are set?
Well, both sides of the aisle, they are optimistic, they say, that this time around they'll be able to come together at the table. But if past conversations on roads and the state's response to this pandemic are any indication, it's anyone's guess if compromises will be found this time around, and the pressure will be even greater. Back to you.
Yeah, we'll all be watching. Thank you so much, Brian, for the live report. Dave?